Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Dad Religion Podcast, episode
Six.
five, six. I'm Jason.
I'm Jim.
That's Jim. And we're just here to shoot the shit. How was your week, buddy?
My week is pretty good. How about yours, Jay?
I can't complain. I woke up every single day. I'm breathing.
You're not itching.
I'm not as itchy. My hands are dry as fuck.
Yeah.
It's I'm using a lot of lotion. That shit left remnants, but I'm good. Like I said, any day above ground is a good day. It could always be worse. I have a really strange question for you.
Okay.
What do you think of the smell of Play-Doh? Because I smell Play-Doh. I took my daughter to family night at her school, and they're giving away Play-Doh, and we're driving home, and she has a Play-Doh, and I just grabbed it from her. I'm like, let me smell that. And I took a big old whiff, and it was like euphoria for me. I don't know what's going on. I think I might be crazy, a psychopath. But the smell of Play-Doh brings back so many memories, so many Christmases, so many playing with those stupid like Play-Doh things where it makes it into strings and cutting it off and making shit out of it. And I just love the smell of Play-Doh. And I posted about it on Facebook, and someone said that was disgusting. I can think of worse things, but the smell of Play-Doh disgusting.
I'm with Team Jason on this. I got to be honest. It reminds me of my childhood. Yeah, and you know what? I didn't think about this before, but it reminds you of Christmas. Hell yeah, we used to always get the little teeny mini ones in our stockings.
Yeah.
And it's that first pop it open smell, that you get.
I know, right? But I like weird smells. Like I love the smell of gas. Love it. I mean, I'm not sitting there huffing it or anything, but I just love the smell of gas.
It's weird. I think most people have that reaction, to be honest, or not most, but a lot of people do. I remember my kids both going, "Oh, what's that?" I'm like, "Yeah, stop breathing, stop."
I'm pretty sure I probably lost a few brain cells with that one. But yeah, that was my strange question for you. But really what I want to get into today, it's kind of a very touchy subject. It shouldn't be, in my opinion.
I agree with you.
I'm going to try to dance my way around this a little bit. When it comes to, how do I want to put this? Whether you're on the left or whether you're on the right, everyone should agree on this, no matter what. And that is deportation of whether it's illegal immigrants or American citizens. Definitely with the illegal immigrants, due process. Having due process is an American, that's what this country was founded upon, you know what I mean? And with American citizens, it shouldn't even be a question. There should be no, what due process? You're an American citizen. If you do something wrong, yes, you should go to jail, you should go to prison, whatever you've done. But deportation to another country, to me, is very wrong. Now, we're talking about mainly Abrego Garcia, the gentleman who's deported to El Salvador with no due process. He was just picked up, put on a plane, and sent there. He does have some stuff in his past, but that shouldn't matter when it comes to due process. You should have your day in court in America. He lived in Maryland. He was given asylum by a judge 5 years ago, I believe. That he he would not be deported. He's here legally, and I think it's scary, scary, scary. The fact that this is happening to Americans now. I think there's been three so far. There's another gentleman picked up in Florida under this new Florida law. I'm not 100% up on it, what it is, but he was. I know he was born here in Georgia. Well, let's go back. He got pulled over on his way to a job. He was a passenger. He doesn't speak any English, and the reason he doesn't speak any English, he speaks this dialect. I don't know if it's Spanish or whatnot, but it's deep down in Mexico. So he was born here in Georgia and then moved down south into Mexico and lived there most of his life.
But he was born in the U.S.
He was born in the U.S. He has a birth certificate. He has a social security card. He got pulled over in, was it Tennessee? No, Florida. What am I talking about? He got pulled over in Florida, and the cops really didn't know what to do with him because he didn't speak English. They didn't know what dialect of language he was speaking. I guess but he got put in a holding cell and he went to court, and the judge, his mother showed up, brought his birth certificate, brought his social security card, and the judge held up the birth certificate, saw the watermarks. She looked at the social security card. She's like, this is a legit birth certificate. This is a legit social security card, but I am just a state judge. There's nothing I can tell you he needs to be released, but they don't have to listen to me. So they held him anyway until there was he went to another court, I believe. He was eventually released.
He was not
deported. He's been released as far as I know. But the fact that, and again, this is a tricky situation because it wasn't like it was just some dude who's lived here his entire life, you know what I mean? And lived in freaking wherever, Fort Lauderdale with his parents, yada, yada, yada. It's a kind of a different situation. I do understand some bit of confusion on the part of the state. Now, I'm not saying that it was right in any way.
For apprehending him, you mean?
For just, I don't know about apprehending him. Just for the confusion, like he was born here. He like after a month, I think he was moved down to Mexico, or 2 months or something like that. So he'd been down there his entire life. So he didn't speak English. I understand the confusion of, he doesn't speak English. We don't know what he's saying. Yada yada yada. What I don't understand is these laws where you can just randomly pick up anyone. He got his due process, I guess. He didn't get. They could have just shipped him off, right?
Yeah.
So I guess he got his due process. But when it comes to American citizens, there's a woman in. She's a doctor. I think that's where I get the Tennessee. I think she's in Tennessee. She got a letter in the mail saying, a letter from ICE saying she needs to be out of the country in 7 days. She's being deported. She's lived her entire life. She's a doctor.
Where?
Her name is like, look up her name. Her name is like Amy Johnson or something like that. It's very strange. I don't want to say this is fact, but is ICE just saying, all doctors are like a certain nationality? And they're just throwing that out there. These are American citizens. This should be scary.
Yeah.
This should be. You should all be worried. Her name is Lisa Anderson. She's from Connecticut. She received a letter from Homeland Security, Department of Homeland Security, telling her it is time for you to leave the United States. You need to self-deport. These are real letters. These aren't fake. There's multiple people who've gotten them. Now, where does that letter come from?
Where is she supposed to go? I'm just curious. Or where?
No, exactly. That's the point.
So, but
She
where?
go back to
Where?
Connecticut?
So she was not born in the United States, though.
No, she was born in the United States.
She was born in the United States and has to self-deport.
Yeah. Yep. A doctor born in the United States said she received an email from federal immigration authorities demanding that she leave the country immediately. Lisa Anderson, a physician from Cromwell, Connecticut, told NBC Connecticut on Wednesday that she recently received a letter from the Department of Homeland Security telling her it is time for you to leave the United States. Immigration authorities have been pushing non-citizens to leave of their own violation or self-deport as the number of deportations remains at similar levels to last year. So basically, but Anderson, 58, was born in Pennsylvania and is a U.S. citizen. She said the language seemed pretty threatening to whomever it might actually apply to. So maybe it was sent to her by mistake. Obviously, it had to have been.
I mean, we should know at this point that we always have to figure incompetence into the equation. It's just the way that it is. Things have manifested.
Here's my main. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that it seems that there are a couple of through lines that we can see with some of these cases is that there's been a mistake made. The issue is that that's why due process is. Yep.
That's how you learn. Anyways.
All right. So,
like you were saying, yes, the mistakes.
Yeah, the mistakes. And so, here's the thing. It's what the through line is that due process usually allows for those mistakes to be caught, either in the court or even by the arresting officers. I mean, they have certain obligations. I don't understand a lot of this, Jason. I got to be honest. When I dove into it, I mean, every single thing that I read led me to like 10 other articles, and there's just a lot going on. But it seems like what's happening, what it looks like is happening, is that there's tests that are being run. You remember how when in 2008 the economy went off the rails, and then they started running these stress tests.
Yes.
Every once in a while to see what would happen in these different places. I think that what's going on is that's being done in the legal arena right now. That we're trying to see what happens if we do this. What happens if we defy a federal judge's order on this, and then what happens if we defy the Supreme Court's order on this, and then that's where I think it really becomes very, very scary.
Here's the thing.
In which case, I want to say that everything I just said is bullshit, and I apologize to the fearless leader, and I'm with you.
Here's the thing for me. Why are we sending them to CCOT? Why are we sending them to El Salvador? Why aren't we deported? Listen.
You know why? Because we sent people to Guantanamo in order to get them off of the United States civil rights obligations, and that started a slippery slope. That is why, because we started doing things like that, and we inch our way forward. It's like the tide rising in a little bit further with each wave, and what you're losing is each time a little bit of sand is a little bit of your civil liberties. They're gone, and it just and then it seems the next time the wave rolls up, it rolls up just a little bit further, and now they're depriving somebody else of some sort of civil right. But you know what? We can turn that person into a cult of personality and make the whole thing about a guy, instead of about a system that we're all supposed to be protected by or whatever. That's why, Jason. It's like we are in serious times, my friend. Serious times.
Well, I think I agree with you that we are in serious times. I just don't understand. What I don't understand, well, I do understand, but for many, many years, I've heard from American citizens that we can't let the government take over. We need to bear arms. We need to be ready for when the government tries to overtake us, when the government tries to initiate martial law, when the government tries to do things that they're kind of doing right now to us, and we need to be ready, yet all I hear is crickets. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are people who are up in arms about this. This is not, but 98% of our population should be up in arms about this. There's always going to be a give and take, 2% here, there. That, but when it comes to something like this,
Yeah.
everyone should be ready. No one should be. I see people who are making the the El Salvador leader. I can't remember his name. He calls himself the coolest dictator around.
Yep.
They love him in this country. That's weird, bro. That's weird. I mean, I see people who love Putin in this country now. That's weird. Where did our country go wrong? Where are the true patriots? The ones who are not going to sit around while this happens, who are going to get in the streets and rise up, and not in a harmful way, but get in the streets and not allow this to go unchecked, because there's a lot of unchecking going on. There's a lot of things that are happening now that people are just letting go. That's by our government politicians also, right and left. The left are, pussies. The left are pussies and the right are sheep. And again, I'm not going to get into, I don't want to get into politics too much. I shouldn't even have said that, but it's true. No one is doing fucking a thing about it except for very few. You need many voices to rise up, not very few voices, because those can just be pushed to the side. This isn't a time for us to sit on our hands. It's a time for us to I wouldn't say revolt, but be vocal. That's why I wish Rage Against the Machine was a band right now.
Yeah, dude. Like, hey, Joe DiMaggio, your nation needs you, man. Come on. You need. Sorry, that was a little Simon and Garfunkel reference. I don't think you usually mash up the Simon and Garfunkel with the Rage Against the Machine.
Hold on, my volume's
Jay,
a little low. Go ahead.
It's yeah. So first of all, I just want to say the whole thing is very, very upsetting to me. Very upsetting to my wife. I trip out on how fast this has taken grip.
Oh,
and how okay certain people have, and it's like it's what we were saying was going to happen all along. I mean, but to hear people that I've known, people that maybe I went to church with at one point, or people that I went to school with, people that I went to college with, who maybe they were conservative, but they seem normal in that middle between the 40-yard lines, kind of, or between the 35-yard lines, kind of conservative, versus liberal type of thing. And to see and to hear those people all as often as not just defending and going along with accepting these new fangled legal arguments that are really just being manufactured in the brain of fucking Stephen Miller right now. I mean, it's a really, really weird thing. And I know we talked about religion before, but I gotta say that this really, to me, harkens back to things that I saw maybe when I was a kid. I didn't know that they were heading in this direction, but the whole idea of this Christian nationalist thing is the underpinning that allows something like this to happen, because it's bringing in this dogmatic way of thinking into politics now. So it's no longer no longer a discussion. There's no democracy. There's no debate. There's just conquer and burn, is really all that's left in politics. And you're right. I hear what you're saying when you say that the Democrats are pussies. I would say that they're institutionalists, that they care too much about their place and this and that. And that probably deprives them of some backbone in a lot of places.
A lot of
I'll give
backbone.
you that. A lot of backbone. I mean, fucking politics is very rarely a breeding ground for backbone. It just is what it is. There's some out there. There's some people that are out there, and I wish that there were some on both sides of the aisle. I really, really do. I think what we need is like either we need a crossover revolution kind of a thing where just the people of fucking sense, common sense, people who believe in law and order and in norms, and there are these things, these pillars that have held us together for so long through bad times and good, because of like what John Adams said way back in the day. We're not a nation of people, we're a nation of laws that are there so that the people can live the way that Thomas Jefferson said, in the preamble to the Declaration of Independence: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That's what the Constitution is there for. It's there to create these laws that apply to everybody, universal. That's not God-given laws. They're not like given by a king or a dictator or anything monolithic. You've got all these checks and balances and all of these processes, and it's ugly sometimes, and it's dirty, and it goes slow, and people look like pussies a lot of times because they don't stand up. But up until maybe 8 years ago, those things were important to everybody on both sides. You could talk to somebody who you disagreed with politically on issues, but still agree that we were operating under a system that worked to protect all of us. Equal protection under the law. There's the other pillar that we're due process, equal protection under the law, taxation without representation. That's really what this is all about, And for a long time, I've been concerned about the way that people have been willing to disregard large parts of the Constitution while trying to insist on other large parts of the Constitution. But you know what that reminds me of? That reminds me of people trying to use parts of the Bible to get you to do what they want you to do or live the way you want you to, and then ignoring the other parts of the Bible that would obligate them to do things good for society. It's the same dogmatic thinking, and that's what we're up against, Jason. That's what we're up against. And it's rough because there is a base on one side. There's a base and there's a motherfucking base on one side, because what you have, even though less people are Christian today than they were 40 years ago or 30 years ago, those Christians that remain have put aside their differences. The Catholics and the evangelicals are a monolithic Christian nationalist force right now. And on the left, you don't have a base. You've got groups of people that all have their own interests. That's it. There's nothing holding them together. There's no base at all, and maybe this is just part of the risk of having a binary system, not having more voices out there to begin with. But now you're in the situation where one side of that binary has really asserted itself and is playing footloose and fancy free with our most tried traditions and norms and laws, and are really playing loose with the Constitution right now. And what do? Is now the time when we say, well, we need a third party, or we need fourth party, or do you, like everybody else, go to the other side unless you want to be ruled by this overlord class or whatever the fuck they think of themselves? Sorry, there was my rant. I've been saving that one.
The Constitution's a big one for me.
Yeah.
How are we trampling on the Constitution now, when it was always about the Constitution before? Everything came down to the Constitution, but now we can dismantle the Constitution slowly but surely, and no one says a word.
Because it's a cult. What happens when people get into a cult? Jason, think about it. Think about how they were before the cult and how they were after they got into the cult, right? Before, they had all these certain kinds of values and stuff. Maybe some of those values were monogamy and stuff like that. Cut to 10 years later, they're in this cult where everyone's having sex with everybody else. What about your value?
But I'm not talking about just one set of. I'm talking about everyone.
But the
Right,
brain,
left, or
the
inside. No
pursuit.
one's saying a fucking word. Everyone is letting shit happen and not doing a damn thing about it.
No,
They're just allowing it. I'm not talking about one specific side because I really don't want to get
right.
into that talk because that's a whole nother. That's a five episode mini series. But just in general, no one is saying a fucking word. People are saying it, but no one who has the power is doing shit about. But really, Bernie and AOC,
Jason,
they're the
who
only
has
ones out
power
there
right now?
speaking about it.
Besides MAGA? Who has power right now? Where? Who
Listen,
has it and
it's
where?
it's not about having that power. It's about the power of your speech. You're on a stage. The power of speaking out,
Okay.
being held. You have an audience, and at every second of the day, you should be fighting against this. If you believe, but everyone is scared. Everyone is fearful, and okay, I get it. Whatever. Or they just want power. They don't want to lose power. This is a power. I mean, there's many people on the right who don't believe this, but they play into it for power. They don't want to lose power. I guarantee it. Um, did you see the picture that President Trump put up of Garcia's hand? So this is hilarious. So yesterday he's like, this proves that he is an MS-13 um, member. He
Okay.
put up his knuckles. He has tattoos on his knuckles, right? So he showed a picture of his knuckles. This is classic. So it has his regular tattoos right here, and then above it there's an M, an S, a 1, and a 3, and you can totally tell they look like typewriter print. That they're photoshopped on there. They look like nothing else. They literally look like a typewriter print. MS-13. And he's showing it to the camera, and if you go in close,
I don't know, dude.
you can tell it's been photoshopped on there. You can tell. It's literally like typewriter
Well,
print.
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. You know,
It's wild that
that's what we are.
a sitting president would even. I mean, unless he doesn't know. You know what I mean? Unless he was just given this by his people. Like, look, this proves it, and they photoshopped it on because
What's wild to me is when the Supreme Court rules. This Supreme Court rules 9-0 in one
yeah,
direction, and you get up in the Oval Office and you have Stephen Miller hop up and tell the whole world that it was 9-0 the other way.
yeah,
That, I mean,
yeah.
honestly, I don't even, here, there's one last thing that I want to bring up before we move on to something else, because this is kind of heavy, and we should talk about some lighter things for a bit. This has happened before, this challenge to the Supreme Court. You familiar with that at all?
Who are we talking? Are we talking about what's his name? That kid,
No, you're talking about Ileana
Elian
Gonzalez.
Gonzalez. Yeah,
Yeah, no. Actually, a lot of people on the right are trying to use that as an example of how both the left and the right use, I guess, optics of militarization or whatever, some shit like that. But the difference is, in the Elian Gonzalez case, those officers were there to enforce a court order as opposed to supersede a court order, which is what they're doing now when they're grabbing these guys off the street and not giving them due process. That's not what I was going to say. I was going to bring up Andrew Jackson, because Andrew Jackson was the one who essentially swiped all the land from Native Americans. And when the Supreme Court demanded that he return the land, His response to them was, well, if that's what you want, then you go get an army and do it. And that's where we are right now. And the land was never returned. That was a Supreme Court order that was never adhered to. Think about the life, the generational consequences of that. And do you know who the current president's favorite president of all time is?
Andrew Jackson.
If you had to guess. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
so. I mean, it's pretty obvious what he's doing and what he's trying to do. He wants to see. This is what has been referred to as the unitary executive. His objective is to have there be one branch of government, and then because he doesn't have to deal with all the checks and balances and all that other shit, he could just ramrod whatever the fuck he wants right through, and there's no one to stop him. There's no one, and that's what the Supreme Court is going to have to figure out. Now, there is a way to stop him if you're in Congress. In Congress, you could cut off the purse strings. Congress can say, okay, no more money for that, and there's no more money for that. ICE disappears. ICE no longer exists. We've defunded it. You can do that. Congress has that power. Supreme Court is just supposed to interpret law, okay? And they interpret the law, and boom, the Supreme Court says it's supposed to be considered the law of the land at that point. And what the current administration is doing is saying, okay, that's your opinion. We're going to do this.
Let's see how this affects the 26 midterms. I really think it's going to affect it negatively for him.
Well, if they have them.
No, that's... I get that. I understand, but I think they're going to have them.
All right.
I also think that I'll just say this last bit. I know we're not going to have 1,000 people watch this, but if you do watch this and you do think that what is happening is making this country great, I will tell you that it's definitely not. I would tell you to just sit back and look at it and think and be like, is this really what is right? Is this really, are we turning a new corner? Are we getting better as a people, or are we getting worse? And I guarantee you, the harder you think about it, the more you think about it, the answer is gonna come into your head, because this is not making us better. This is not turning a corner. This is going backwards. This is going way backwards.
Can I piggyback on that?
I don't want my children to grow up in a place where they have to look behind their back for our government if they've done nothing wrong. That is fear mongering, and we don't live in a country like that. We live in a melting pot. It's always been a melting pot. This country was built on immigration, and I just think you need to think about it long and hard before you make a decision on this is the right thing that we need for us. Yes, you can. Sorry.
I want to add to that. I want to say, for people who believe themselves to be Christian, what I would ask you to do is to pray. And I don't mean, pray like you do when you get in a group with all of your friends and you repeat the same things over and over. I mean pray. I mean old school pray. I mean prostrate yourself. Put yourself in an uncomfortable position. Fast. Turn yourself over to God and ask God, while you're in a vulnerable state, to please speak to you on this matter, and be very clear about what it is that you want God to speak to you about. Okay? But don't just do the whole repeating things over and over with the rest of the group kind of praying. I mean, do that one-on-one. Turn yourself over to the Lord and ask God what God thinks about this kind of praying. That's what I would like to see.
Amen.
So, all right, now I'm gonna go check my blood pressure real quick, and let's get on to. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, let's move on to something a little more lighthearted.
This is rough, though, Jay. It's hard, man. I've been not dipping my toe in and purposely keeping my mind safe from some information, and then suddenly this is happening, and it's happening so much faster than I thought was possible. But anyway, okay.
I've been dipping my whole head in and staying underwater for a while on this. I mean, when you find great news at a great news source, it
Yeah,
took me a while to find a great news source. Once I found one that I enjoyed, that I liked, I can't stop listening. So, shout out to Breaking Points. Um, anyways,
yeah, they're good.
yeah,
It's
we
palatable.
contemplated talking about this all week, whether we were going to
We
do
did.
it. I went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I finally decided this morning to say, "Fuck it." What's the point? Why? I mean, what am I hiding from? What's the? I just didn't want to get into, make it. I didn't want to make it. I wanted to get to stay with the point of what's happening to American citizens and stay with that point. But
Yes, and the idea of due process
yes,
as being the linchpin of the whole conversation.
as well as it should be. You know what I mean? That to me, that's the main thing here. Is
Yeah.
is is that? But let's talk a little music.
Okay, thank God. Well, I see you've got Bad Religion going
Oh
today.
yeah, I got a Bad Religion. My teacher with the, you know, you little halfer.
No, little solidarity
So
today.
I'm going to see a concert tonight, and I thought we'd talk about the greatest, and what I think we'll end on this, right? The best
Okay.
and the worst concert you've ever been to, and why?
Uh, you know what? You even told me that you were going to ask this, and I didn't think about it. So, okay. So
Greatest, greatest
I'm
concert
going to
you've ever
have
seen.
to say so. So what goes into that kind of thing? So it's first of all, the music has got to be popping. It's got to be a band that you really, really know and that you gravitate and reflect on relate to the lyrics, relate to the music. It's got to be in a venue that's got the right energy and stuff, and it's just got to catch you on that day when you're just ready for it, right? So Christine and I went and saw when we were first getting back together in I don't remember the year, so I'm not going to say what it is. But the concert was very specific, and everyone else will know. We got to go to the kickoff concert for the Hell Freezes Over tour for the Eagles at the Rose Bowl,
Okay.
and that was yeah. I mean, that was them playing live in an arena for the first time since what 78 or something like that, or maybe 79, and it was as good as you can imagine it would be. They had all the right players. I think Timothy B. Schmidt was there. I can't remember if Randy Meisner was there or not, but I don't think so. I think it was Timothy B. Schmidt was the bass player, and they did. I mean, everything that you can think of, in their repertoire, and they played probably for like 3 hours. There was no opening band. They might have even gone 3.5 hours, and they just crushed it. It was awesome. The section that we were in, we spent all of our money on those tickets because we were in college and we were broke. So we emptied our bank accounts to get those tickets. All I had was like a half ounce of pot, and I'm gonna call it pot because it was that kind of pot because there was like seeds and all that other shit. But I rolled a pocket full of joints. I think I had like 8 or 9 joints, which we would light up and then pass around the whole section, and then they all bought us beers all night, and so we got smashed and then had to go sit out in the car and wait until the sun came up. That was my best concert.
Okay.
All right.
Now you want my best concert, or you want to do your
I do.
worst?
No, I think I know where I'm going to go with my worst, but I want to hear your best first.
I have kind of a tie.
Okay.
I've been to a lot of concerts, um, but I think I'm gonna go with. There's four that are really memorable to me. Is it four? Maybe it's four. So number one is Paul McCartney at Petco Park.
Mm,
Paul McCartney at Petco Park, 60,000 people singing "Hey Jude" at once. 3.5 hours of just Paul McCartney. It took
yeah.
about like 2 hours just to get into the stadium. We were in line
Jeez.
forever, but I think that was 2010. Okay. My second one is Roger Waters, which
Uh,
was here in Austin about a year ago. The
who did he have playing guitar with him?
I don't remember, but just the vision, the eye candy, just
Oh,
the stage, everything was just like Holy shit! Like he had a cross on the stage was a cross on the bottom, and then on the top was a cross too. But on that cross was just the LEDs and the picture show and everything going all the way around this cross. He had pigs floating through the sky that people could touch. It was amazing. Um, Number 3 was Madness. Uh,
Oh,
Madness
nice.
at Humphreys. I have a picture of it right up there. I'm actually looking at it. Oh, I have a picture of
Tell me
Paul
about
McCartney
that.
up there too. I'm looking at Paul McCartney. All three, all of mine are up there. All these shows that I'm talking about are up on this photo thing I got going on. There was Madness, and then there was Brian Setzer. Brian Setzer up at north. Where is it?
Hollywood Bowl.
No, not that far north. San Diego County North. Club, right up north.
Oh,
Oh my God,
no, I played there before.
I'm looking at it right now, but I can't remember. And
All
we're
right,
back.
and we're back again.
Oh, what a pain in the fucking ass. Anyways, what is it? What is it called again? It's gonna drive me insane. Oh my God.
I know,
Oh
man.
my.
We're both real quick.
I
The Belly Up Tavern.
thank you. Oh my God.
Welcome.
Belly up. And you know what? I'm gonna throw another one in there too. I can't make when I Rush.
Oh,
I've seen Rush a few times, but
yeah.
the last time I saw them was in Anaheim. Oh, it was good. Like all
Where?
those shows, which I, I'm gonna say Paul McCartney kind of ekes them all out just a tiny bit, but
Paul.
I'd
Yeah.
say those are my top 5 at this moment.
You've been to quite a few more shows than I have. I'm trying to catch up because we've had those season passes for North Island Credit Union Amphitheater the last few years. But you were probably how many concerts do you think
I'm
you went
close
to?
to 300 at least easily by
Yeah,
now. I got 6 in the
I'll never
next
catch
like
up.
4 months, so
I'll never
um,
catch up. And I looked at the lineup this year for North Island, and it's not so far. It's not as grabbing as it's been in the past for me.
who they got playing?
Gonna see Simple Minds though. They're
Yeah,
coming
I'm
up.
going to see them too.
You're gonna like them more than you think. They're because the musicianship is better than you think. You know what I'm saying? Like I only can tell you that because my band has tried to play it and it's very challenging. Both
Yeah.
the drums and the bass are extremely challenging, and the vocals are forget about it, man. In fact, the vocals I have to split it up now with the other singer. I can't when we do "Don't You Forget About Me." She has to do part of it because I can't.
Don't you? I could join.
I can do that
Forget
part.
about me.
I can do the lower part. That's easy. But yeah, the hey shit, no, that fries my voice.
Yeah.
Anyway, but the whole band, they're good. You're gonna like them. You're gonna like them more than you think. Who's playing with them? They're playing with
Ask my
somebody.
wife. These are all her tickets, not mine.
There's another '80s band playing with them. Another '80s alternative band. I can't remember who it is. We do get Willie Nelson again. That'll be cool if if Willie's up for it. We'll see. It's a hit
Lily's
and
always
miss.
up for it.
Yeah, I know.
That's
Sometimes Willie can't get out of the trailer. He's just that kind of old. But
at
sometimes the great thing
91
is,
years old, I think.
yeah, his son sounds so much like him. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Worst concert.
Worst concert. I very much did not enjoy Flaming Lips when I saw them. Now, whether or not that was because you had gotten into my head and told me how bad they were, but I mean, I knew some of the songs, but dude,
I don't get it. I
and
don't get the fascination with that band.
I felt kind of let down also with Counting Crows. I just kind of felt that they started off with the Mr. Jones and Me, which is probably the only one I knew. No, it wasn't the only one I knew, but I understand why they started it first because he can't sing it anymore. When they wrote that song and recorded it, he probably went, "Oh shit." I'm gonna have to sing this live now, and he just can't do it, not even close. It was horrible. It was really, really bad, and
Yeah.
that set me off the whole time. So I didn't like that. We walked out on one. That's weird to walk out on a concert. It's kind of weird, but I can't remember who it was. I think we just went. I think it was a country show, but we were hoping for better country, I guess. It turned out to be kind of like, I don't know, pickup truck. We want to kind of be hip hop sort of country, and it just wasn't my jam.
We uh we walked out on one show. Uh, One time at the House of Blues. It was PIL. I don't know if you know who that is.
I know who that is. Yeah,
It's Johnny Rotten's band.
yeah.
But the worst show I've ever seen doesn't have anything to do with musicianship entirely. It was Joe Jackson. And
Why?
well, we were seeing him downtown in the Golden Hall. Number one, it was
Not very
hot.
good acoustics.
The seats were tiny. I was sitting next to a very large man. The seats were tiny, like school children tiny. And he comes out, and his whole first half of his show is just him playing piano and just singing songs. And I was falling asleep, and I was just not digging it. And it was so hot in there. And I mean, the second half of his show was all right. I mean, he played, Is She Really Going Out with, all his hits. But the first 40 minutes were absolutely hell for me. I wanted to leave every second of it. I don't care who it was. I was not happy. He was a good musician, but it was just not my thing. And I think that's the worst. That's my only complaint out of all the shows I've seen.
So I have a second entry for both best and worst. How about that? Same band. How about that?
Good.
When it was in 1993 or 90, no. In 1992, Christine and I were dating at the time, but this was before we broke up and then got back together. But we were dating. I was working at a supermarket. Her sister, Janine, was dating the lead singer in a band, and that band opened up at the Nugget, which is a bar at Long Beach State, which is where both Janine and Christine were going at the time. That band opened up that night for a band called Sublime.
Called
And
what?
Sublime. A band called Sublime. Yeah, right. And we caught them on a night when you kind of feel like maybe it was the inspiration for a song like Pawn Shop. Our dude was way fucked up. I don't know if he was super drunk. I don't know if he was on the
Sublime
on the
was never
drugs.
good live, dude.
Huh?
Sublime was always fucked up live. That's their
Yeah,
that's
no,
their
no,
They
no,
were never
no.
good live.
Yeah, no. We left and went and got high out on the campus. We literally walked out on Sublime. It was fucking crazy, and I didn't realize that was the band that I had walked out on when later on I was at the Whiskey A Go Go, and for a concert. It was called Poor Fest. Poor Man from K Rock used to do it. 5 or 6 bands, usually a little bit more gritty, a little punky. Not like. But the headlining band was Sublime, and I found myself in. It was a show that the whole show I really had not grabbed me at that point. I felt like it was sloppy. I felt like I couldn't name another band that was playing to this day, to be honest. The most interesting thing that had happened was that Ron Jeremy had come out on a balcony with a couple of porn stars, and they were pulling up their top at that point. But then suddenly I'm standing there at the Whiskey, which is such a small venue, and this band is up there, and he was just shredding on the fucking guitar. Everyone knew the melodies. The whole crowd was just moving together, and it was like that for their whole 45-minute set. And I didn't move. I just, like, my jaw was dropped open, and that was also Sublime. So that show was amazing, life-changing. But the first time, they were worthy of walking out on. They were horrible. They clicked off, I think twice, and Brad went into a different song from the other guys. It was not good. Forgot lyrics, forgot his guitar riffs, laughed at himself. He was a mess, dude. It was horrible. It was bad. Yeah.
I got another one for best. Tool. Both times I've seen Tool, they were amazing.
Ooh, that would be a good show.
And Florence and the Machine was really good too. Have you ever? You know who that is?
I do.
Yeah, that's another great show too. I can't. This is a dumb question for me because I have so many good shows that I'm just like, oh, that was a great show. Oh, that was a great show too. The band who plays Sex on Fire. I can never remember their name. This sex is on fire.
Um,
Dun, dun,
yeah,
dun.
I saw them. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, that was a great show.
They're from
I don't know. They're brothers, right? I believe.
yeah, I can't remember. Yeah,
We need to get a fact checker on this show.
we do. We need one.
We need to. Maybe we can get Sophie to do that. She can sit
Sophie,
there
yeah, I don't think Bella's going to. Huh,
and just
uh,
fact check everything we do.
yeah, it's a little scary though.
Kings of Leon.
Kings of Leon. That's right.
Yeah,
I
they
saw
were
them.
good too.
Yeah, they were all right.
They were good too. No Doubt was good too.
They were. Yeah, I saw No Doubt. They were great. They were
Uh,
great. And
Les
Foo
Dudek.
Fighters
I
are
don't know if
always,
you know who Les Dudek is, but he was good.
Foo Fighters are always good.
Never
Dave
seen.
Grohl puts on it. He puts on a really good show. He manages. I think Dave Grohl is the best at managing a show. Like he gets you feeling from the very beginning, like it's going to be a long show. We got a lot to play, this and that. And even when you get to like the last third and the last quarter of the show, he still sets you up with like, dude, we still got 10 of songs to play. So he like manages the time in a way where by the time the concert's over, you feel like, okay, that was a good show. Yeah, that was right. That lasted exactly as long as it should have. It had exactly the right peaks and valleys, you know. Although when we saw them once at Cal Jam, they liked it. They used to do this. They did this festival at out in I think Devore is where it is out by San Bernardino, and we went and camped and it was really fucking fun. We have friends that we met camping there that we still have, and it's always the Foo Fighters were always a headlining band, but they always did something special. Like the last time we were there, the encore was Nirvana reunion, which was fucking rad. I don't know why I didn't put that in my list, but that was just the encore. They and then for that they brought out different singers that they had that had been playing in different bands throughout the night to sing the vocal parts. And then but the first year they brought out is it Stephen Perry? Is his name Stephen Perry from Aerosmith, the guitar player? I think
Joe Perry.
Joe Perry. Okay, thank you.
Steven
Sorry.
Tyler's the lead singer.
Steven Tyler.
Stephen Perry is the lead singer of Journey.
You just saw my dyslexia right there. I just transposed the first name of one person, put it on the last name of another. It's crazy.
Anyway. Steve Perry's the lead singer. Was the lead singer of Journey also. So
yes, oh man, that's awesome. All right, it's all cool. So anyway, Joe Perry comes out and they wanted to do Come Together. And so they're going to play Come Together, by the Beatles. And they brought out who was the douchebag brother from Oasis? I mean, I think they're both douchebags, but the extra douchebag, the douchey douchebag.
Ian Gallagher.
Ian Gallagher. What's the other brother's name? Just to make sure, because I don't want to.
Something Noah, Gallagher. Right?
No,
Noam Gallagher.
It was Ian Gallagher. Ian Gallagher, the douchebag who had the nerve to once say that Oasis was the more popular
than
band.
Jesus.
No, more popular than the Beatles.
The Beatles said they were more popular than Jesus.
John said that the Beatles were more popular in England than Jesus, which was a factual statement, by the way. Anyway, this douchebag, Ian Gallagher, says that Oasis is the superior band to the Beatles, and that motherfucker didn't know the lyrics to Come Together, and he had them written like big block letters, huge letters. He was so smashed that he couldn't even read the lyrics and didn't know the melody. And if you're going to go out and say that you're better than the Beatles, then motherfucker, you better know what the fucking Beatles do first before you do that shit. Especially
we all make mistakes when we're drunk, Jim.
Okay? Yeah, this is true, but we don't
make decisions.
Yeah,
we don't say things we didn't mean.
Whatever.
They also say what is it? something about what's the saying go like never mind. Never mind. Forget it. I'm not. I'm gonna fuck it up. But yeah. What else we got? We got anything else?
I don't think so.
How
I
are
don't
you
have
gonna
any show.
splice this thing together? Because I can't do it.
Yeah, we're gonna have to splice it together. You see how it's 13 minutes now, and the other one was
Yeah, it was at 27 before, and then
yeah,
before that, I think it was at like 13. So we're around 45 minutes, 50
we're at
minutes.
about an hour. We're gonna do a little editing this time. All right, brother. Well, I don't think we got anything else, man.
I got one last thing to say.
Go for it.
Look out for each other.
Please.
Look out for your neighbor. Look out for your family. Just be safe out there. And yeah, that's all I got. Be safe. Look out for
Try a
each
little
other.
kindness. Try a little kindness. That'd be good too.
Kindness is
Even
good.
with people that you don't maybe know or usually like. I mean, come on, let's just take temperatures down a bit.
Cool.
Cool,
Well,
cool.
this was fun. Sorry about the technical difficulties. I think it's this computer of mine. I think it's time for a new laptop. I think this thing
We'll
is.
see.
I think I should give this to my daughter. Get something new.
Uh,
She'll probably break it, but she breaks everything. Sorry, baby.
That'll just be her first broken computer. Throw that into the pile with the others.
Yeah, well, put it on the broken tablets that she has. The
Yeah.
broken headphones, the lost headphones. We'll put that with the
Yeah.
bus pass that she loses at least twice a month. We'll
That's a
figure it
problem.
out.
Yeah, that's a problem.
As I'm throwing out all her dirty laundry in her.
By the way, we haven't. How are the kids this week? Any concerts?
No, nothing.
No.
No concerts. My daughter has a solo concert coming up on her birthday, which is May 3rd, and that's the next concert.
A solo concert.
Yeah, well, she has a solo in the
At a
concert.
concert.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, she's got 7 songs she's learning right now.
It sounds pretty freaking good. I hear the clips that your wife puts up on Facebook. They sound pretty fucking tight.
Yeah, they're good. They're good.
Yeah.
They're good. I mean, but they're
Lucky.
like I said, it's like travel ball. They're like a travel.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, you're lucky. It's cool. It's better than watching rec soccer.
Yeah. So, but how your kids doing? The baby, grandkids good?
Yeah, great. I got to see my grandson yesterday, and I got to see him last Saturday. So I got a couple of bonus days this week.
Yeah, I saw that on Facebook. You were scaring that poor kid, getting in his face with your pictures, dude. He was like, "What the hell is going on?"
That dude is not afraid of me. I'll tell you that. Dropped a bomb on me yesterday, dude. I figured I played the Gap band and went into the changed that diaper. Ooh, boy, it was. My God.
Put the bomb on me.
Yeah, he did indeed, man. He did indeed.
All right. Well, thank you to our 8 listeners now. I think we may get up to 8.
4 subscribers, and only one of them is me.
Oh, I'm not even a subscriber of my own channel. 4 subscribers, but how many are family members?
I have no idea. I have probably 5 of them.
Out of 4? Damn.
Yeah, I know.
That math ain't mathing.
They teamed up and they just said, well, if you do it, then it's like me too. So it's fine. We're good. Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you. Have a wonderful weekend. Happy Easter.
Happy Easter to everybody. Be safe. Be good to each other. Yep. Late.
Peace.